What is inter-thread communication? Class test in the sense we have to introduce a new customer. Based for that new customer we have to create a thread, public void rent withdraw 50. We have to withdraw the amount 15,000. Before withdraw the amount, we have to check our deposit, that then only we are eligible to withdraw that amount or not. We are trying to know that thing. So public void run withdraw 15,000 in the sense, but we have to maintain above 15,000 only can able to withdraw that 15,000. So let's we check the deposit of that amount. So if it is exceed the 15,000, we can withdraw the amount 15,000. So uh, after 15,000 withdraw, the balance amount, how much is deposit in this and in that on that particular account, so that is 10,000. So it should have shown in that output. So exception handling in Java. Exception handling in Java is one of the powerful mechanism to handle the runtime errors so that normal flow of the application can be maintained. In this, we will learn about Java exceptions, its type, and the difference between checked and unchecked exceptions. What is exception in Java? Dictionary meaning: exception is an abnormal condition. In Java, an exception is an event that disrupts the normal flow of the program. It is an object which is thrown at runtime. Exception handling is a mechanism to handle runtime errors such as class not found exception, IO exception, SQL exception, remote exception, etc. Advantage of exception handling. The core advantage of exception handling is to maintain the normal flow of the application. An exception normally disrupts the normal flow of the application. That is why we use exception handling. Let's take a scenario. Suppose there are 10 statements in your program there occurs an exception at statement 5. The rest of the code will not be executed. That is, statement 6 to 10 will not be executed. If we perform exception handling, the rest of the statement will be executed. That is why we use exception handling in Java. Hierarchy of Java exception classes. The Java language throwable class is the root class of Java exception hierarchy, which is inherited by two subclasses, exception and error. A hierarchy of Java exception classes are given below. So throwable, there should be two types, exception and error. First, in the exception, IO exception, SQL exception, class not found exception, runtime exception. In error, stack overflow error, virtual machine error, out of memory error. From runtime exception, we have to make some more split ups. Arithmetic exception, null pointer exception, number format exception, index out of bounds exception. Index out of bound exception, we can get the two types: array index out of bound exception, single index out of bounds exception. Types of Java exception. There are mainly two types of exception, checked and unchecked. Here an error is considered as the unchecked exception. According to Oracle, there are three types of exception: checked exception, unchecked exception, and error. So this is the exception handling diagram. Here we can mention the checked exception, unchecked exception, and error. Difference between checked and unchecked exception. Checked exception. The classes which directly inherit throwable class except runtime exception and error are known as checked exception. Example: IO exception, SQL exception, etc. Checked exception are checked at compile time. Unchecked exception. The classes which inherit runtime exception are known as unchecked exceptions. Example: arithmetic exception, null pointer exception, array index out of bounds exception, etc. Unchecked exceptions are not checked at compile time and they are checked at runtime. This is the So these are the two types of checked and unchecked exception, and the last one is error.